Welcome to the Folktale Project. This is Dan Schulz. Today we have our first North American folktale of the week, and this one comes to us from Charles Skinner, as many of our North American tales do. This is An Event in Indian Park. It was during the years when the Saranacs were divided that Howling Wind, one of the young men of Indian carry, saw and fell in love with a girl of the family on Tupper Lake. He quickly found a way to tell his liking, and the couple met often in the woods and on the shore. He made bold to row her around the quieter bays, and one moonlit evening he took her to Devil's Rock, or Devil's Pulpit, where he told her the story of the place. This was to the effect that the fiend had paddled on timbers by means of his tail to that rock, and had assembled fish and game about him in large numbers by telling them that he was going to preach to them, instead of which moral procedure he pounced upon and ate all that were within his grasp. As so happened in Indian history, the return of these lovers was seen by a disappointed rival, who had hurried back to camp and secured the aid of 6 men to arrest the favored one as soon as he should land. The capture was made after a struggle, and Howling Wind was dragged to the chief's tent for sentence. That sentence was death, and, with a refinement of cruelty that was rare even among the Indians, the girl was ordered to execute it. She begged and wept to no avail. An axe was put into her hands, and she was ordered to dispatch the prisoner. She took the weapon. Her face grew stern, and the tears dried on her cheeks. Her lover, bound to a tree, gazed at her in amazement. His rival watched, almost in glee. Slowly, the girl crossed the open space to her lover. She raised the tomahawk, and at a blow severed the thongs that held him. Then, like a flash, she leaped upon his rival, who had sprung forward to interfere, and clove his skull with a single stroke. The lovers fled, as only those can fly who run for life. Happily for them, they met a party from the carry, coming to rescue Howling Wind from the danger to which his courtship had exposed him. And it was even said that this party entered the village, and by presenting knives and arrows at the breast of the chief, obtained his now superfluous consent to the union of the fugitives. The pair reached the carry in safety, and lived a long and happy life together. And that is the love story of An Event in Indian Park. And it really is a love story. It has a brutalness to it, yes, but it's still a story of love. And even though it's one that betrays the early, and oftentimes current prejudices against the indigenous population here, it's still a love story. This is Dan Schulz for the Folktale Project. Don't forget that you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Overcast, anywhere you like to get your podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter at Folktale Project. You can find us on Auto Radio, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere that you like to listen. And you can always head over to folktaleproject.com, where you'll find a new story waiting for you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you'd like to support the podcast, you can always head over to patreon.com/folktaleproject, where for as little as $1 a month, you'll get early access to every story told. As always, thank you so much for listening.